this could just be the best deck that OCG was never even able to test. What's going on, Duelists? Super Insane 18 here, and today we are going to be talking about Yummy Mitsurugi. Now, the intro said that OCG was never able to test this, and that is because the Mitsurugi cards are a TCG exclusive archetype. So let's go ahead and jump on in. To kick off the deck profile, of course, we are still maxing out on our Yummy names with 3 copies of Cupsy, 3 copies of Cookie, unfortunately I had to give the third that I was borrowing back, and 3 copies of Lollipo. You want to max out on these because they are all 1-card combos. Obviously the Cupsy is the better of the 1-card combos, but they all get you exactly to where you need to be. But on to the more interesting part of this profile, that is going to be the Mitsurugi cards. We are, of course, on 3 copies of Ame no Habakiri. Now, this is actually a 1-card starter for Yummy as well. So we're going to go ahead and show you guys a combo at the end of the video. Make sure that you stay tuned, because I want to show you how you can bridge the Mitsurugi cards into your Yummy engine. It's pretty obvious how you can bridge the Yummy engine into the Mitsurugi, because you are making Herald of the Arclight, which, when you use the Omni Negate and it goes to Graveyard, will be able to search for your Mitsurugi rituals, but we can actually do it the other way around as well. So again, look forward to the combo at the end. We are on our 1 copy of Murakumo. Now, Murakumo might be an incredible card this format, because it is something that Yummy never had to deal with in OCG, and it's something that Yummy has a very hard time dealing with, and that is board clears. By being able to clear the board as essentially a quick effect, you might just get the upper hand on other Yummy players. We are on our 3 main deck monsters as well, the Saji, Kusanagi, and Aramasa. Now, these 2 are not 1-card combos, but they are necessary for the combo. Aramasa is actually a 1-card combo as well, getting you into both your full Mitsurugi line and your Yummy line as well. We are on 1 copy of Fireflint Lady. This is the only necessary brick of the deck, because this is what will help you to bridge into your Yummy engine, which you'll maybe be able to figure out once we see the extra deck. Onto our hand traps, we have 3 copies of Ash Blossom, 3 copies of Ghost Ogre, 3 copies of Fuwalos, and that is actually going to do it for the monster hand traps. And the reason that we're not on more is just because we did run out of room when we were putting in the Mitsurugi cards, but the Mitsurugi cards allow us to have a total of 17 1-card starters, which is actually higher than the pure version. So statistically speaking, mathematically, this is probably the more consistent version. We are on 1 copy of Yummy Surprise and 1 copy of Mignon. We are not on the Acro QE, we are not on Double Surprise. We did have to trim down a little bit for the inclusion of the Mitsurugis, but I think it's a very fair trade-off, because we of course have our 3 copies of Mitsurugi Prayers, which is an absolutely absurd card, and our 1 copy of Mitsurugi Ritual. Now, we do have some additional starters for the deck as well in our 3 copies of Sky Striker, Mobilize, Engage, and the 1 copy of Hornet Drones. Now, we did cut out the Obedience Schooled, because essentially the Mitsurugi acts as Obedience Schooled for this deck, and if you were to play Obedience Schooled, you lock yourself out of the Mitsurugi stuff since you become Beast Locked. So it just made sense that since they were starters on their own, they replaced the Obedience Schooled, so we're not on that in this version. We do have 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence adding to our hand trap lineup, and then we have our 1 copy of Great Purification. Now, Great Purification is a flex spot for the deck. This could technically be the other field spell or a second Yummy Surprise, but I really like the Purification. It adds an additional Omni Negate onto your end board, essentially giving you 3 Omni Negates on top of everything else that the Yummy deck can do. Let's show you guys the extra. Now, the extra deck is going to be very, very close to the pure version that I put out. In fact, it is only 2 cards different. Let's show you guys what we've got. Of course, we have 1 each of our Cupsy, Lollipo, and Cookie Yummy Way. These are just crucial for the deck and the combos that you are able to do. We are on our 1 copy of Martial Metal Marcher, still being the best way to get into Herald, and of course we are on our 2 copies of Herald, which are now playing double duty. Not only are they Omni Negates, they are Floodgates, but they are also a way to bridge into your Mitsurugi combo off of just your Yummy monsters. We are on a single copy of Battling Boxer King Dempsey. Now, this will allow us to search for that Fireflint Lady that I showed you guys in the main deck, which will make a little bit more sense as we go on. We are, of course, on our 3 copies of Yummy Snatchy for our Link 1s, And now we have a few more as well. We have our Gravity Controller, our Almirage, and our Kagari. Now all of these are starters in and of their own sense. Gravity Controller is what you actually make off of your Dempsey. So what you can do is Dempsey will search the Fireflint Lady special summon because you control the warrior, turn the Dempsey into Gravity Controller plus Fireflint Lady goes into Cupsy Yummy Way, which then searches you 2 of your Yummy monsters, and you just bridged your Mitsurugi engine into your Yummy engine. Almirage is really good to just normal a hand trap and turn it into a Link 1, and the Kagari is obviously for the Engage and Hornet drones. And then finishing off the extra deck, we have our 1 copy of SP Little Knight and our 1 copy of Uka no Mitsune no Inari. That's going to do it for the extra. Let's show you guys that combo I was talking about. And as promised, here is going to be the 1-card combo that bridges your Mitsurugi line into your Yummy line. It requires Habakiri and any card to discard. You can also do this with something like the Aramasa, but you guys already know how to Mitsurugi combo. So let's show you guys what we are going to do. We will start off with the reveal of the Habakiri. This is of course going to allow us to summon out the Saji from our deck and then tribute off the Saji. This is of course going to then activate Saji's effect, which will allow us to add our copy of Mitsurugi Ritual, which we can go ahead and use immediately to ritual summon from our deck. We are going to summon out a copy of the Murakumo by tributing off the Habakiri. Now Habakiri will activate here, and unfortunately it cannot summon back because it was not properly summoned. However, we do still get to add a card, so we'll use the Habakiri that we just tributed to add us a copy of Mitsurugi Prayers. Here we will use Mitsurugi Prayers and we will tribute the Murakumo because we want to ensure that we are getting both of the effects here. This is then going to allow us to add a copy of Kusanagi from our deck to our hand, and then take 800 damage to resummon back out our Saji. Now, in a new chain, the Murakumo will activate because it was tributed, which will allow us to then add a card from our deck to our hand, and then special summon it back. Here we are going to add us our copy of Great Purification, and then the Murakumo will summon itself back to our side of the field. We have not yet normal summoned, so we can take the Kusanagi that we just added and normal summon it, which will activate its effect, allowing us to get the prayers back to our hand. We can then go ahead and overlay the Saji and the Kusanagi into our copy of Dempsey, and it is very important that we do it in the extra monster zone because we need it in the extra monster zone to be able to turn it into Gravity Controller. On the summon of Dempsey, it will allow us to add a Fire Warrior. This is going to add us our copy of Fireflint Lady. We can then special summon out our Fireflint Lady, and once we've done that, we can link off our Dempsey into our copy of Gravity Controller, and now we have bridged into our Yummy engine. Because with the Yummy Synchro monsters, you can treat any Link 1 as a level 1 tuner. So with our Link 1 Gravity Controller and our level 1 Fireflint Lady, we are going to go ahead and Synchro summon off into our copy of Cupsy Yummy Way. Cupsy Yummy Way will activate its effect on summon. This will add us a copy of Cookie and Cupsy, and then we have to discard, and that's where the discard from earlier comes into play. You can technically discard one of the Yummies that you add, however, you get the most extension and most bang for your buck if you have another discard. Just know that it is possible, technically speaking, off of a 1-card combo. But since we control a Synchro 2, we can go ahead and special summon out our Cupsy, which will activate its effect to add us our copy of Surprise. And now that we have Surprise, we can pretty much play through anything our opponent wants to do. Using the Cupsy Yummy Way, we will link off into our copy of Yummy Snatchy, which on summon will allow us to then activate our copy of Mignon from our deck, which we will be able to use later as additional extension as well. With the Snatchy and the Cupsy, we can go ahead and perform another Synchro Summon into our copy of Lollipo Yummy Way, which will be able to summon back 2 of our Yummy monsters. We'll summon back Cupsy and Cupsy Yummy Way. Now, the reason we want to do it this way is because with the Cupsy Yummy Way and the Cupsy, we can go ahead and perform another Synchro into our copy of Martial Metal Marcher, which on summon will then be able to reborn back out one of our tuners, in this case, the Cupsy Yummy Way. Doesn't matter that we just reborn this because we are going to link it off into our second copy of Snatchy, and now that we have gone back into a Link 1, we can utilize the effect of Mignon to reborn out one of our level 1 Yummy monsters. With the level 1 Cupsy Yummy that we just reborned and the Martial Metal Marcher, we can go ahead and perform a Synchro Summon into our copy of Herald of the Arclight. Now, what I like to do here is utilize the effect of Yummy Surprise. This is just going to reborn any of our level 1 Yummies just so that we have it in rotation, because what we are going to do now is we are then going to take the Snatchy and the Lollipo, and we will link those off into our copy of Uka no Mitsune no Inari. On summon, this will then allow us to reset back out our Yummy Surprise, meaning that we have it for additional play later on, but other than that, it also provides protection for our field spell and additional interruptions if our opponent gets rid of it. Here we can then go ahead and link off the Cupsy that we have left into our final Snatchy, and then we can special summon out our Cookie and set our Purification and our Prayers, and this will be our end board. So this was a 1.5 card combo because of the discard, meaning that we have 3 cards left in our hand. We have all of the interruption and protection that Yummy provides for us, being able to have Omni Negate with the Herald, the quick synchro effect with the Cookie and the Snatchy, the protection off of the Uka, all of the stuff in Graveyard that we can synchro into and tag out to because we still have Cookie in our extra deck, all of the follow-up that we would normally have, but on top of all of that, we have also had our Mitsurugi engine, giving us an additional Omni Negate and a board wipe on top of all of that. Wow, that was actually kind of crazy. Now, I do want to say shout out to Ren. They were the one that told me the bridge from the Mitsurugi line into the Yummy line, and while it does technically require you play a brick in the Fireflint Lady, you are also technically playing more 1-card starters than the pure build, so I think that balances it out. This is incredible, and like I said at the intro, something that the OCG was just simply never able to test since they didn't actually have access to the Mitsurugi cards. So I hope you guys learned something. Let me know what you think about this variant and that combo in the description down below, but you know the deal. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, comment, and share with your friends. As always, don't forget to check out the channel sponsor Dueling Guard. Using my code INSANE18, you can get 5% off your order, as well as help to continue to support the channel. But not just that, we do actually have a brand new sponsor as well, and that is going to be Imperium Duelist. You can use the exact same code INSANE18, and that will continue to help support me so I can bring you guys more content like this. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.